Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to season 2 of the Seahawk Game Recap videos. And man, what a season opener to the Mike McDonald era. A little bit stressful, but considering that you are a Seahawks fan, you'd be used to stress by now with this team. But man, what a game indeed. So much fun. The throwback uniforms were really fun. I really like those jerseys. Those are starting to grow on me a little bit. But it is a new season of NFL football. So let's get right in to recapping the season opener, home opener for your Seattle Seahawks as they took on the Denver Broncos. Before we get into this video, though, if you like this video, please consider giving it a like. It helps me know if I'm doing a good job with these videos or not. And if you'd like to see any more future Seahawks content from this channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any more future uploads. That would be greatly appreciated. But let's get into the game summary. Seahawks 26 to the Broncos 20. And yeah, very close game. And let's start off with the Seattle Seahawks first and their stats because they were the home team. So the Seahawks had 304 total yards, 158 passing yards, 146 rushing yards, averaged 5.1 yards per play, had 19 first downs. They went 4 for 12 on third down, so that does need to be fixed. I'd like to see that improved on by week 2. They didn't go for it on fourth down. They had 60 total plays, 2 sacks allowed, 5 punts, 6 penalties for 41 yards given up. And yeah, if you know me and you know anything about this channel, you'll know that when I was doing the Seahawk game recaps last year, penalties were a big point of emphasis for me on something that needs to be improved. But it is only the first game, so I'll let these kind of slide, kind of not. We'll get more in depth later on in the episode. But we had one fumble loss and one interception thrown, and the Seahawks had 28 minutes and 46 seconds of possession time. For the Denver Broncos, they had 231 total yards, 132 passing yards, 99 rushing yards, 3.3 yards per play, 13 first downs. They went 5 for 18 on third down. They went 1 for 1 on fourth down. They had 69 total plays, 2 sacks allowed, 8 punts, 8 penalties for 60 yards given up, 1 fumble lost, and 2 interceptions thrown by Bo Nix. But the Denver Broncos ended the day with 31 minutes and 14 seconds of possession time. Ryan's focus players, and let's talk about Geno Smith, 18 for 25, 171 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception thrown, 4 carries for 30 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. And talking about Geno Smith, the first drive of the game was completely terrible. The O line, literally, it went like this. It was 3 plays, I believe, a sack, a missed throw, and then an interception to Alex Singleton. And man, when I saw that, I about almost jumped out of my chair because, man, the O line in the preseason actually looked good. But now we're getting into the point of the season where this is the regular season. These are the starters. And seeing Geno Smith's game, you might look at it and go, okay, there's a lot to blame Geno for there on that interception. But the guy in the first half had no time to throw the ball. So I'm kind of giving him a mulligan on this first game, him getting up to game speed and everything like that. But yeah, other than the first drive of the game, Geno Smith, I think, kind of, you know, put the team on his back a little bit. And that's what you need from a veteran leader in your QB. That's why he's one of the most important players on this Seahawks team. His leadership, his resolve, the way he was able to command the offense, at least to get something. He got the first touchdown of the game with his legs when he realized that he needed to make a play when the Seahawks were down 13-0. So he got that one rushing touchdown in the first half and in the first quarter. So I was really impressed by that. But let's get to running back Kenneth Walker. He had 20 carries, 103 yards, averaged 5.2 yards per carry, and had the one touchdown. And Kenneth Walker, man, so happy to see him playing like this. When he has 20 carries, when he's commanding, when especially in that second half, it was the Kenneth Walker show. Big runs, bouncing to the outside, making people miss, going through people at times. Even in the first half, when the O line was Swiss cheese, he was at least using his body to throw guys off. I was just like, wow, the amount of strength that this guy has. So good game from Kenneth Walker. And let's get to wide receiver Tyler Lockett, 6 receptions, 77 yards, averaged 11.8 yards per reception with 0 touchdowns, but Mr. Reliable. He's played 10 seasons in the NFL for the Seahawks, and a lot of people, there are some people in the Seahawks community that say, "Oh yeah, Tyler Lockett always dives and makes sure that he covers up, and he always falls before the first down, and always does this and always does that." But that's how he preserves his body, and he's a reliable pass catcher for Geno. That chemistry between those two is what gives him my focus player, because this guy didn't drop a pass. When he was targeted, he got the ball in stride and got the first downs when it was needed, when he was targeted. So good game from Tyler Lockett. But let's get to the Seahawks defense. And oh my God, I cannot wait to see how good this Seahawks defense will be. I know it's only one game. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but let's talk about D lineman Jonathan Hankins. 1 solo tackle, 1 assisted tackle, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, but this guy is part of the run stuffing defense. And the Seahawks defense did that all game long, keeping the Broncos from running the ball down the throats. That was a big emphasis for this Mike Macdonald style defense this year, was to shore up on this run defense. And Jonathan Hankins is a part of that. So good game from the entire D line, but especially Jonathan Hankins. And let's get to DB. Free safety Julian Love, 10 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 0 sacks, the 1 interception. And it was a beautiful interception. Wish it wasn't on the 1-yard line, but he got an interception. And this guy, Julian Love, in his second season now with the Seahawks, after the offseason that they had, they lost a lot of mentors on this defense. And now Julian Love has to step into that kind of mentorship role. He's got a new contract. Can't wait to see him for the next 3 seasons. And he's proving why he deserves his money. 10 solo tackles, just a tackling machine. Got the 1 pick, was helpful, was flying all over the field, trying to blanket all the wide receivers that the Broncos have. And it was just really great to see. But something that was also great to see was the linebacker Terrell Dotson. 9 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But one thing I'm really starting to notice about Terrell Dotson is that this guy can not only hit, but he's also taken that kind of Bobby Wagner role. Remember, Bobby Wagner in this Seahawks defense in years past had been the guy that was calling the signals on the field for the linebackers. Now it seems like Terrell Dotson is doing the exact same thing, taking that kind of role, and I really like it. Terrell Dotson all over the field as well. He was doing very well. helping in the run game when needed, making big hits, doing what he needed to do to get this Seahawks defense on track. So great game from the linebacker. But let's get to the Broncos and let's get to QB Bo Nix, 26 for 42, 138 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 carries, 35 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. And you know what? Bo Nix, okay? He's coming into a position, he's coming into a very hostile environment. Lumen Field is one of the loudest places to play for any opposing team. And Bo Nix is a rookie, man. This is his first NFL action, his first NFL game in the regular season with all the starters. And honestly, I saw a lot of flashes from him. So even though his stats don't look great, yeah, he threw 2 interceptions and that cost his team a lot. He is a rookie. People have to remember that, and that's a big thing. So I think Broncos fans just cut Bo Nix a little bit of slack. You know he's a rookie. I think he did all right. I saw some pretty big mobility from him using his legs to get open and make plays. So I think you guys will be all right. But let's talk about the running back and let's talk about Jamel McLaughlin, 10 carries, 27 yards, averaged 2.7 yards per carry and 0 touchdowns. And that's exactly what I want to see as a Seahawks fan because he didn't run all over the Seahawks defense, you know. But even McLaughlin was having some plays there where he's just a big guy. He's a guy that can push pile. And there are certain runs in there where I'm watching it, and he's got 10 carries. He's a bit of a workhorse. You don't see many double-digit carries in the NFL. Usually you got two running backs in the backfield, sharing the load of the carries. But this guy looks pretty decent. And even though his numbers don't seem pretty decent, the Seahawks defense was really giving the Broncos running game a really hard time. So in my opinion, it was a decent game from the running back, Jamel McLaughlin. But let's get to wide receiver, 7th round pick, Duvalin Vel, 8 receptions, 39 yards, averaged 4.9 yards per reception and 0 touchdowns. But the big thing about these Broncos wide receivers is that they are tall. They are 6'4", 6'5" guys like you got in Vel here. And that was Bo Nix's favorite target, the guy that could just have an enormous wingspan. And although his stats don't look great, look who he's being covered by. He's being covered by guys like Devin Witherspoon. He's being covered by guys like Reek Woolen. So to be honest, these are the type of guys that Bo Nix is going to have to throw to. And I think with big bodies, that's what happens with wide receivers. And Vel had really some pretty big catches. A majority of the workload went through him, reliable target. Um, had some pretty good catches in there. So good to see from the rookie wide receiver. But let's get to the Broncos defense and let's get to a guy that I liked on the Arizona Cardinals. Zach Allen, 1 solo tackle, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. But man, this guy's stats don't tell the full story. He was getting pressure, 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 pressure. The Seahawks gave up 2 safeties in that first half of play. And Zach Allen was part of the defensive push. And he actually, I believe, was the one that tackled Zach Charbonnet to get one of those safeties. So good game from Zach Allen. But let's talk about DB and let's talk about, of course, Patrick Surtain. 4 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But his matchup was DK Metcalf. And to be honest, Patrick Surtain, man, did really well against DK Metcalf. Not many corners in the NFL can match up against DK Metcalf and not give up, 100 yards. So being as Patrick Surtain just got his new contract and has inked his deal with the Broncos, this is your franchise corner going up against one of the franchise cornerstones of the Seahawks. So a good game from Patrick Surtain, making tackles when needed and trying to cover one of the best receivers, in my opinion, my biased opinion, in the NFL. But let's get to another guy I wanted to talk about, and it's linebacker Jonathan Cooper. Two solo tackles, four assisted, and the two sacks, no interceptions. This guy, again, with Zach Allen, they were just a menace. The Broncos defense in that first half was just getting pressure, and all game long they were getting pressure. Like, you know, in the first half, though, Jonathan Cooper was the guy on the first drive that sacked Geno Smith, and then that forced Geno Smith to throw a pick to Alex Singleton. So, Jonathan Cooper had a really good game for the Broncos. But let's get to Ryan's final thoughts and what went well. The defense played exceptional all game long, bailing out the offense so much during the first half. It was only 13 points, but oh my God, it could have been a lot more if the defense did not play some stellar football all 60 minutes of it. But great run defense from the D line. That's, again, something that Mike McDonald preached and wanted to fix was the run defense. The Seahawks last year had a terrible time bringing down some of the big running backs, and they seem to have kind of motivated themselves to stopping the run. So that was good. They were making some big plays along with the secondary. The secondary was something that I was preaching about. I wanted better tackling from the corners and safeties, and we got that. Plus a couple turnovers. Reek Woolen gets a pick, and Julian Love gets a pick. So great job from this defense. And honestly, great adjustments in the second half. At halftime, something just clicked for the offensive line. I don't know what Mike McDonald said or what Ryan Grubb said, but something in that second half really bolstered those guys up, and they allowed Kenneth Walker to do his thing. So good job from them in the second half. But what to improve on? You got a next game. Your next game is against the New England Patriots. Please, I understand that it is Ryan Grubb's first game as an offensive play caller in the NFL, but I really need to see that offensive line play a full 60 minutes of football. That first half of this game, I know it's the season opener, and I know I said in my season predictions that I was not expecting much from this team because they are new, but that was one of the worst first halves of Seahawks football that I have ever watched in my entire life. A muffed punt, you can't give up 4 points on safeties. That's just not allowed. Two safeties, no, you can't do that. You can't allow your defense to have to bail you out because you guys can't get off of your side of the field. You guys need to do better than that. I'm looking specifically at the offensive line for the starters. That was an unexceptional way, an unacceptable way to start your season. So I hope those issues are addressed. My final thoughts. Overall, this game was really stressful, but I'm happy that the Seahawks were able to get the win in the season opener. That's a great way to start off the Mike McDonald era. And it's great to see. I know it's week one. I know Denver had a rookie quarterback back there and the defense just feasted. But man, if this defense can keep up kind of that stellar play from this first game, man, it's going to be a good season. I just want to see them do well. I know what this team is capable of. I know what the defense is capable of. I've seen it. So I would like it to continue. For the Denver Broncos, though, you guys actually played a decent game. I know, it didn't seem like it. It looked like the Seahawks were running away with it in the second half. But again, like I like I was talking about my focus players, I really liked what I saw from Bo Nix, especially his mobility. Yes, he made some throws that weren't the best, but you've also got to remember it's his first game. He's 24 years old, and he's playing in one of the loudest stadiums. I think Bo Nix did exceptionally well for his first NFL game. And your defense, again, like I said, just creating pressure. Your linebackers, especially running off the edge, beating guys like Anthony Bradford is no small feat. Beating guys like Charles Cross, the left tackle, who's going to be our future left tackle, that's no small feat either. But you guys really did put the hammer down in this game. So even in a loss, I will look at this game, and I think you should too, Broncos fans, as look at the positives and try to build off that. It's the first game of a very long season. There are 17 games in this thing. You have finished one. There's 16 games left. I think you guys will grow into a good football team. And, you kept it close in the end. It was a 26-20 victory. So just shore up on some of your offensive mistakes, which I think Bo Nix in the coming weeks will start to learn the offense a little better and try to not make as many mistakes as he did in his first game. But anyways, that is it for the Seahawk game recap of the season opener for week 1 versus the Denver Broncos. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments section down below. How did you feel about this game? Were you as stressed as I was? And are you happy that football's back? Because you can tell that I am. But, anyways, I hope you enjoy the recap, and I'll see you all in the next video. Go Hawks, go! And let's see if when we take on the New England Patriots in week 2, if we can get off to a 2-0 start. Have a good day and take care of yourselves.